your computer or iPhone and share it with others.
23-year-old student at the University of California, Los Angeles. For now, we're going to refer to him as Mo. This is Mo. Mo was minding his own business at a UCLA library. He was approached by a community service officer and asked to show his student ID. Mo said, "No, thank you." This is what happened next.
Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Stand up! Stop fighting us! I'm not fighting you! I want leave! I said I want leave!
Yeah, I want their badge numbers.
Yeah, you can get your badge number.
I like their badge numbers.
I got tased for no reason. I was leaving this godforsaken place. You stopped me. You're abusing your power.
You've just witnessed someone being tortured and incarcerated for refusing to show their papers to the authorities. Is this the society that we've created? A show-me-your-papers mentality, which seems can quickly escalate into government-sanctioned torture for non-compliance to an officer's unnecessary and unwarranted request. Is it possible that the atmosphere which has been created by the USA Patriot Act has worked to embolden police officers to engage in activities that, under ordinary circumstances, would not be tolerated in the United States of America? Again, the question is asked, what happened to our basic right to privacy?
If someone was working for me and they didn't do what they were supposed to do, they get fired.
We all want the same thing. We all want change in one way or another. It's not working. The country is not working for your average American.
Well, an absolutely amazing film, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, I am so excited about Washington, You're Fired. You just saw a couple minutes from the film. It's all jam-packed. You saw the graphics, the illustrations. We've got to fight these fascists, this New World Order. We can defeat these terrorists together if you go to Infowars.com and buy this video and show it, have parties, get it out to everybody, and then show them Endgame. And then show them American Freedom to Fascism or Loose Change Final Cut. They're all available at Infowars.com. Get them out to people. The filmmaker, who I am just so honored, he said last hour with us on the Mainline show that I woke him up. It is so exciting to know that even if they kill me, I've woken up so many people. My listeners have woken up so many. William Lews has woken up so many. It is exponential. Their tyranny is obvious. They're trying to rewrite the rules. I tell you, Philip Bobbitt at UT, just a few days ago, they had this in the Statesman saying everything must go, showing the Bill of Rights cut in half and on fire, and it said to fight terrorism, and then it says the Bill of Rights, Constitution's bad, get rid of liberty, get rid of freedom, torturing people. It's all in there. And that's the the nephew of LBJ, top global planner. I mean, Bobbitt's right up there at the top. This is what they put in the paper. William, they're really trying to tell us right now that evil is good and that good is evil. I mean, they're really trying to flaunt all this right now, aren't they?
Oh, this is why reading 1984 is so important for anyone out there who hasn't read it. I guess I read that book about 6 or 7 years ago for the first time. I'd never been exposed to it growing up, but everything that is going on in our world government today is explained in that one book, and it's amazing. And of course, George Orwell couldn't have had the foresight to see some of the technology being put into place that we have now, but it's very frightening nonetheless. And this is what we're talking about is, the thought police and the redefining of words. In that particular book, they continually redefine words, new definitions, day by day, and then they get rid of certain words. I could see, truth and patriotism and those type of words either being completely deleted from the dictionary or completely redefined as we're seeing with the word patriot right now. I mean, what is a patriot? You're not a patriot unless you're with us.
A patriot is somebody who destroys liberty and freedom and wears a black uniform.
That's right. But unfortunately, you and I going around calling ourselves patriots, spouting the Constitution and talking about things that we're not supposed to. I mean, you know, those are about to become thought crimes, people. And go back and look at the founding fathers of this country. What do you think they were talking about when they were wanting to, write the Constitution, and when they were talking about all the same things that we're talking about right now, and they were labeled as terrorists?
Well, that's why we have FEMA on video teaching Kansas City police and firemen that the founding fathers are bad terrorists. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. They're burning the Constitution on the front of a major paper that goes out to over 1 million people in Central Texas. I mean, they're saying America and freedom is bad. They're saying the founding fathers are terrorists.
Well, that's why we need to educate people, or should I say re-educate them. There's, been an attempt for the past 20 years to rewrite history in our public school systems. And, I know you talk a lot about that, so do I, and Under Siege, but, the main crux of the situation here is that they're getting to our youngsters through the education system, and they're reprogramming these kids from a very young age to be compliant for this New World Order system that's being put into place.
You say you've been listening 10 years, or I remember you contacted me about 10 years ago, so it may be longer than 10. You contacted me, I think, like in 98, William. But back then we were sent videos, and then it would come out in the newspaper a few years later, where they load kids at gunpoint on buses, tell them that Christians are coming to kill them, and now it's in the Associated Press. And yes, this is really happening, folks. And then they would load them and take them to local FEMA centers. They're even drilling them on how to go to camps. I mean, this is like Jim Jones Kool-Aid drinking drills.
Well, I'll tell you what prompted us to take our children out of public school. It was about 4 years ago. And they were holding drills in the middle of the night where they would pull a school bus up in front of the schoolhouse, and they would simulate kids being loaded into the bus, and, they're practicing their little drill, and we got tipped off to it, and come to find out they're practicing for a some type of a terrorist or disaster event.
Yeah, that was the first place I heard about it. Was actually in Missouri, where you live, not in your town, but on the Arkansas-Missouri border. You're in another area of Missouri, and that's what we wrote articles about it. That's actually in some of my earlier films. And they would not tell the parents and take them, but during school, to the local FEMA center. But please continue.
Well, that's the whole point, is that you don't have access to your own children. If you were to show up on the spot and your kid's about to get on that bus, you would be denied access to your child. They would not be able to go with you.
And now, what are they training preachers to teach their flocks? Give in your guns, let them take your children. Remember, for no reason, how they'd split up families in Katrina? Again, they're setting that precedent. Out of the gates, they go for the wildest thing they can, because the behavioral psychologists know if you'll accept the most extreme thing, you'll accept anything else. That's why the White House wrote memos and put them out, how they could sexually torture children in front of their parents. Because if you'll accept sexual torture of children, you'll then accept anything else. William?
Well, yeah, I think that Katrina is probably the first time that we've seen Executive Order 11,004 used. It was written back in the 60s. But it allows the federal government to be able to completely relocate communities. They can literally tell you that this community is uninhabitable anymore. Whatever the reason is, biological, apparently a hurricane, whatever the situation is, and then they can force you into new housing somewhere else. That also falls under some of the other executive orders.
They also have forced labor in the executive orders, slave camps.
Yeah, exactly. That one, that's a big problem for me, that the government, that's Executive Order 11,000, where they can actually put you into a work camp, and you're going to be, I guess, forced to do their bidding, whatever that might be. I guess building new communities, building some housing, or digging graves for dead bodies. I don't know which one. But
did you ever see the Rocky Mountain News, where they admitted they spent hundreds of millions on giant incinerators? They've now built big ovens for us.
Oh, that's sweet.
No, well, if you're not for it, you're with Al-Qaeda.
Well, there's so many different stories about those, death camps around the country that are springing up.
Like the stories in the San Francisco Chronicle and Houston Chronicle? Yeah, it's now admitted.
Yeah, I believe it was in 2001 when, was it Ashcroft at the time? He admitted that they wanted to be able to set these facilities up. And at the time they were using the excuse that they wanted to put terrorists in them, and I'm sure that that's the excuse that they're using to this date. But you remember at the time, they were proud of it. They were giving out numbers on a daily basis, how many people we've incarcerated. You know, we got 100 people incarcerated.
They'd also say, you know, that they put the purchase order out for 3 1-million-man camps. And Newsmax reported on it with the purchase orders, and people couldn't believe it. I'm sure you heard me last hour talking about this. Local law enforcement agencies joined together for anti-terrorism initiative, and it said they arrested people for no insurance and gave out hundreds of tickets, and they said, this is our fight on terror. They've all been federalized. They have the feds running license plate scanning from the local FEMA center. Here is the mainstream news article out of Memphis, and it's going on nationwide. What do you think about that, William?
It's all very frightening. I was looking at the video that you've got up on your webpage, the guy being tasered, and I don't know if you want to get back into a discussion of that or not, but my God, I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about in the documentary. You know, when the government has the ability to be able to force you, you know, it's mandatory that you show your identification, and then when you refuse to show your identification, they have the ability and sanction from the government to torture you.
Well, no, now in Canada, and even mainstream papers are all saying it's horrible, if they don't find you with a stub for getting on the subway, they tase you as punishment. That's the new system, as punishment. Yeah, here is the NFL case. You know, he's a nice guy, has a good record. They're always trying to say they're all gangbangers. And when you watch it, the cop, he crosses his arms while the cop's yelling at him. He's gotten out of the car. He crosses them, going, listening. And then the cop gets in his face more and starts screaming at him. And then the cop, when he goes, please, sir, please, and makes his hands begging the officer, the cop and then pushes him, and the guy starts cussing and backs up. Then they taser him, and the media says, oh, look, he's bad. He's cussing while he's being tasered, and they call it a fight or altercation while the cop is attacking him, tasering him, and he's done nothing.
I agree. You know,
it's just totally sick.
He didn't do anything I probably wouldn't have done. Or you or anybody else. I mean, he looked completely compliant to me. And when you start tasering me, yeah, you better believe I'm going to start cussing.
Well, now people are, I'm bad. He was like, please, sir, come on. And the guy goes, and pushes him. And then, and the media's like, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's sick.
Brainwashing.
William, talk about the tasering. I mean, the famous cases, you cover some in your film, but I mean, you know, please don't tase me, bro, or old ladies being tasered, or pregnant ladies being tasered, and now they taser you if you don't give urine samples. I mean, this is just torture. Forget Abu Ghraib or Camp X-Ray. It's happening here.
Well, it's a good thing we had a government come along and redefine torture for us. That way we don't have to be subjected to it. But unfortunately, my dictionary still defines torture a little differently. And I don't believe that you have to be close to the state of death or organ failure in order to be in a state of, you know, torture. The simple matter of the facts of the matter here is that in this country you have to be proven guilty in order for them to administer any type of punishment to you. And if you're out there and you're reading a book and minding your own business, like this kid at the UCLA library, the cop walks up to him, or I think it was just a security guard actually, and demanded his papers. He demanded to see his ID, and when the kid said no, thank you, very simply. And
by the way, he was a student.
Yeah, he was legitimately there, and the kid doesn't want to give his ID.
So he just said, "I'm just going to leave," and so he tasered him.
Yeah, they've already got the kid on the floor. The kid screaming, wailing in pain, and cursing at the cops just like anybody else would. Screaming, "Here's your Patriot Act." And he's right. This is the mentality of this country. This is what we're allowing our police officers to get away with. Because, I mean, nothing, they don't get away with anything in this country unless the American people allow it to happen.
Well, the establishment wants this. The establishment likes this. If you study non-lethal weapons in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and Colonel Alexander, their real name is less lethal. Just like special weapons assault teams, special weapons and tactics were called special weapons attack teams when Chief Daryl Gates came out with it with the CIA in the early 60s in L.A. as a beta test. He admits that, by the way, in History Channel and Discovery Channel interviews I've seen. We need to get Daryl Gates on, but because he has a book out. But the larger, in fact, let's tell the producer that before I forget. But the larger issue here is that it's about habitualizing the image of them shooting us with something for no reason, and that continuum of force. If they shoot us for no reason with a gun, like the girl they killed at the Boston Red Sox, shooting her 10 feet away with rubber bullets, coming out of a bar for no reason, and they said that was good. The cops got medals for it, literally. But so it trains them to have the image of shooting us. Now microwave guns, sound cannons. William, your take on that?
Oh, I think we need to take the weapons away from the police. I think the only people in the country that should be allowed to be armed are the citizens. We'd solve a lot of problems by doing that. You might have a few more police officers getting killed, but I tell you, it wouldn't be a matter of time before the criminals figured out if everybody's got a gun, well, I might not want to break into that home. I mean, they've shown this over and over again repeatedly in communities that have enforced people to own firearms. And again, before we have to pick up those weapons that shoot bullets, maybe we can pick up the weapons that are made out of plastic. We call them movies. We can hopefully we can educate enough people to be able to do something in this country before it actually comes to that.
Well, I agree with you, my friend. What do you think about the local Austin paper saying get rid of the Constitution? They actually say it's bad. Just get rid of your freedom.
Well, there is nothing to say to that. I mean, these people they're insane. They're at the very least communist. I don't think many people realize that even some of the bills that we've got in our, on the books today, like the USA Patriot Act, for instance, did you realize that was actually written by a communist?
Yep.
I mean,
Viet Dinh.
Viet Dinh, yeah. I mean, this guy grew up in Saigon, Vietnam. He did come to the United States, moved his whole family here, and became a citizen.
Well, it's mainly foreigners ruling us. Look at Alberto Gonzalez. He says that he believes the Southwest belongs to Mexico. We have John Yoo, who says sexually torture children, and then it gets Bush to sign an executive order for it. He's a commie.
Yeah, and the sad thing about that is if they changed the law today, we'd have Arnold Schwarzenegger in the White House in 2008.
He wears SS belt buckles on TV. His dad was an SS captain, the equivalent of a colonel, ran an entire sector, as I said earlier, and he says he admires Hitler publicly, and the media loves him.
Everybody loves him. I mean, he's this great movie star, and you can't talk bad about him. I mean, you can say all you want that he wears a swastika armband, but I think the vast majority of people out there are so in love with the images of him portrayed in his movies that they ignore all this stuff. This is just, in their opinion, propaganda, which in actuality, in this particular case, it's actually the truth.
Well, I want to bring up another story, and then we're going to open the phones up. The phone number is 512-646-5400. This is the last day of Overdrive, where it will not be on the Genesis Network. Starting Monday, you will be able to tune in on many of our AM and FM affiliates, global shortwave, the internet, satellite. Right now it's internet only, but that is huge. Hundreds of thousands tuning in over the hour at Infowars.com. There on the different streams that we have. And then, of course, this is uploaded for PrisonPlanet.tv members this hour, so you can watch it when you want, where you want, how you want. And we've got it in Flash now and in Windows, saved files. And then, of course, the live streaming of it for PrisonPlanet.tv members now. If you're a PrisonPlanet.tv person that reads the news there, why not sign up for a month, $5.95? That supports us, but then you can see the document cam. We've got a guest cam when we have guests in studio, the DVD cam where we play video clips. We've also got, of course, the cam on me. But on the document cam, that's all available right now at PrisonPlanet.tv. And if we get enough members, folks, we're going to expand what we're doing here and, really kick it up to another level. So it's not, your membership goes to helping us operate. Here on the document cam is this individual. He had been being harassed by the FBI. He had given textbooks, fiction books to Palestinian children in Palestine. He was a Palestinian. And he was a school teacher here in Austin. And he was also, Al-Qaeda is going to get us, though, so he deserves to die. Is basically, that devil Al-Qaeda. That's the little boogeyman image they give us. But this individual, as you can see him right here, he is now dead. And let me read this to you, William. Man found in lake was a teacher, faced FBI inquiry. Austin police said Thursday that they are leaning towards a ruling of suicide in the death of a middle school teacher and activist whose body was found Wednesday in Lady Bird Lake with his hands and legs bound and tape over his eyes. That's right. Hands and legs bound, tape over his eyes so he couldn't see who was killing him. Police identified Raed Hamid, 55, at a news conference Thursday and said the binding of the limbs and placement of the tape was consistent with Hamid having done it himself. Austin Police Homicide Sergeant Joe Chacon said family members told investigators that the Clint Small Junior Middle School teacher had several stressors. Oh, see, they go talk to family and say, was he stressed about the FBI stuff? Oh, yeah, he was very upset. And then they use that to spin it. They always, like when they shoot yourself twice in the head or cut your arms and legs off or they kill cop of the year when he exposes OKC government bombing. They always do the same thing. Oh, he was very stressed. And they claim the family said it in his life and had talked possibly about killing himself. Oh, that's right. So he bound his legs and arms and then threw himself off a bridge. Police said they think Hamid walked from his car to the lake based on evidence they gathered at the scene. The car was found on the South Shore line with no signs of mysterious activity. Chacon said, no signs, bound arms and legs and tape over the eyes. How did he put the tape over his eyes and then bound himself on arms and legs? I may simulate this around here on the office. Maybe we should go out to the lake, but I got to have people there to save me so I don't drown. And then I'll get up on the bridge and I'll tape my arms and legs. Now, remember, when they killed Gary Webb, they had, quote, friends come out and say it's quite normal to shoot yourself twice in the head. What do you think about that? I mean, it's just, remember Fahmy Malek, the Arkansas medical examiner, where they would machine gun a cop who was investigating Clinton. There'd be 200 plus bullet holes in the car. The cop would have 18 holes in him in one case. They'd clearly then cut his head off. Another case, they cut arms and legs and head off, poured gasoline on the body in a trash dump. The car was a half mile away. And then they just said, it's a suicide. William, I mean...
Well, I hear that John F. Kennedy committed suicide in the same manner.
Exactly. Kennedy did.
I mean, come on, people. Nobody has 2 bullet holes in their head or a leg or an arm missing and have committed suicide themselves.
No, not a arm or leg. They had cases with decapitations and everything cut off.
Anything can happen.
In plastic bags that had gasoline poured on top.
Yeah, I mean, these are no-brainers. Yeah, it's just, I mean, the whole topic is a rhetorical question.
But they don't even care anymore. They may start just firing squads shooting us on national TV. As we hang on the pole they've tied us to, they go, Alex Jones committed suicide, and they show 20 guys with machine guns shooting me. And people will double think and go, look, he committed suicide. I am never committing suicide, ever. Go ahead.
Yeah, I say the same thing, too. But
wait, if I don't get my rights up, Al-Qaeda will attack, William. I'm showing a picture of the boogeyman right now. Go ahead, William.
Well, I mean, the best thing that you can do is just what you've been doing and keeping yourself out there and exposed. It's people like me who don't get a lot of exposure that I think might really be threatened. And not necessarily just from, death or committing suicide or some of the things that you're talking about, but on a very real level. The USA Patriot Act being used to come into my home and take in my computer and
they don't, somebody's going to get you. Aren't you scared of Al-Qaeda? They claim it's everywhere.
I'm less scared of Al-Qaeda than I am of our own government, which is, should tell everybody exactly what they need to know. I mean,
you're more scared of the government than Al-Qaeda?
I must be a terrorist, man.
Have you seen how vicious Al-Qaeda is?
Well, according to some of their definitions, I am a terrorist because I've aided Al-Qaeda. I've actually put out videos that say that they didn't commit 9/11. That's a big no-no. You've done the same thing. You may not.
That's right. They had those hearings in Congress saying that architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth exposing how it's an inside job, that they are terrorists. And then they had national TV on every major news show call for all of our arrests, tasering, being flown to Guantanamo Bay, and tortured. I'm not kidding. We've aired all those clips here, folks.
Yeah, one day, I mean, seriously, the 3 o'clock in the morning wake-up call is a reality these days. They land a helicopter in your backyard, send in a team, pull you out, take you off to wherever they want, transport you to Guantanamo Bay. You have no right to know why you're being arrested, why you're being detained. You can't see a judge. There is no due process. There is no anything, people. It is just, it's over with. I mean, once they have you, they have you.
Well, anything to keep us safe from Al-Qaeda. You don't understand the scourge, sir.
Perhaps I understand it better than most, which is the reason why I'm trying to get this information out, and the same reason that you're doing it. You know, we've obviously we're doing our jobs here. I'm getting some really great emails from people telling us that you know, they're going to use this documentary as a tool to be able to wake up their neighbor. It's quite a bit less conspiratorial, I will just let everyone know, than the past documentaries, because everything that we're talking about in there is just basic facts. And maybe you hadn't seen the facts laid out linearly from year to year with an accumulation of all the bills that took away your rights and what those rights are that were taken away. But, you know, you really don't have much of a problem getting your neighbor to watch this with a title like Washington, You're Fired. Most people will sit down and watch that. All right? So, I mean, the name of the game here is education.
Well, Willie, I mean, you just want Al-Qaeda to win, don't you? I mean, that's what this is really. You just hate America, don't you? Realize how deadly Al-Qaeda is, sir?
Look, I'm just trying to take back our country. I'm just trying to restore...
You're not going to commit suicide, are you, by tying your hands and legs and shooting yourself 5 times in the head and jumping off a bridge, are you?
Oh, hell no.
Well,
are you kidding?
Well, you just don't care about freedom, do you, then?
No, I mean, my wife and I have had this discussion before, you know. How do we protect the kids? You know, what if they are coming into our home? We've set up detectors to be able to see if someone's been in our home, and twice, 2 different occasions, we know that someone was in our home when we weren't there. That's scary. I mean, who knows what they're doing? I mean, I've heard horror stories where they're planting, you know, uranium fragments in people's car seats to give them cancer and things of that nature. I mean, none of this is out of the realm of possibilities here. This is very real, and it's going on in our country right now on a very escalated level.
Yeah, it's military operations, and once you're in that game, these guys have been in combat in all these countries. Killing people's nothing to them, and the collateral damage of what they did on 9/11 is nothing. Quote, for their greater good, the greater aim. We're going to be taking some of your calls in a few minutes, 512-646-5400, 512-646-5400. Before we do that, getting back to this article that was in Nashville here, it says law enforcement agencies join together for anti-terrorism initiative. And it says thousands of officers from 50 federal and state local law enforcement agencies went out under federalization, total violation of the 10th Amendment, and they just went out, and it says set up checkpoints, check cars, search people on the streets, the river, for 24 hours in this big operation. And they work with the military, by the way. It says that in the article, to fight terror, but then terror is now all activity. Just walking down the... Well, we're allowed to stop you and randomly search you. This is a federal anti-terror sweep. Notice how it's all designed and focused around attacks on the general public. I mean, let's say you believe in Al-Qaeda, you know, you believe in the boogeyman, you believe they're hiding everywhere, they're under every rock, they're going to get you, and they're running this all from Afghanistan, and they look like the devil. Even if you believe all that, they said there's a few thousand of them. So this is like there's a few thousand Studebakers or 1957 Chevys. And you're looking for a 1957 Chevy, and so you randomly throw a dart at a board, and then you send 1,000+ police randomly to the middle of nowhere to look for a 57 Chevy. I mean, that's what they do here. They don't profile. They don't check, you know, the Muslims, which we know it's all fake anyways. Of course, they let record numbers come in and leave the borders wide open and don't even check for diseases and all the real threats, you know, with the open borders. They just randomly go to Tennessee and Texas and New York, everywhere else. I've been in New York. They just lock down streets randomly. It's in the new film we're making. We got footage of it. They just randomly search everybody in New York on the streets. Black guys, white guys, Asians, old people, young people. Just like TSA, it's about training you that you all have no rights. It's about setting the precedent. This would be like, I used the analogy at the first of the show today, if I wanted a bottle of Jack Daniels, randomly pulling my car over and running into a creek bottom, running around in a creek bottom looking for Jack Daniels. That's what the police are doing, looking for terrorism. But notice it's all crime is terror, and they arrested hundreds for, you know, misdemeanors and things like that. And I'm going to cover the article in a minute. This would be like, instead of me going to a liquor store for Jack Daniels or Coors Light, this would be like randomly just running into a creek bed going, Jack Daniels, Jack Daniels. I mean, do you see, William, your take on that?
Well, it's the same mentality that they use for everything that they do, not just this one case. It's the same mentality when it comes to monitoring our phone conversations and our faxes and our email and looking at what we do on the Internet. This is, unfortunately, we're being told that in order to keep our freedoms and to keep our people safe, that we've got to give up these liberties. We've got to give up the one essential freedom that is literally encapsulated in almost every single amendment to the Bill of Rights, which is our right to privacy. And, I think that we can all agree that the founders of this country would not have encapsulated the right to privacy in almost every single thing that, every single piece of documentation that we have if they didn't feel very strongly about it. But that's what we're being told we must give up. Ultimately,
Al-Qaeda is attacking to get our freedom, so we have to give it all up. That's what Bobbitt says in the article for The Statesman. He says, Al-Qaeda wants our freedom, and he says, so we need to give it all up. Yes. Because,
then what are we fighting for then? Why do we send guys over to other countries to so-called, spread democracy? Why have we fought all these wars for the past, 5 decades?
Well, the truth is, every time a Middle Eastern or Central Asian or African country got a good leader, the globalists went and killed them, and they actually used radical Muslims they funded for 50-plus years and still do, even before that, to go overthrow those nations and put radical Muslims in.
Well, sure, I understand their game plan. What I don't understand is why the American people buy the lies and propaganda. Are we really that dumbed down that they can't see through this?
Well, after World War II, everybody didn't know our government funded Hitler and set him up. And so they think we're the good guys. And they're still kind of in that lulled sense. And now they woke up. Well, most of them woke up, but they have no idea how bad it is. Kind of like, William, when you woke up 10, 12 years ago, you know a lot more now, right? I'm learning more every week than I do the previous month. So you now know it's fathomless evil. Well, the new people waking up are kind of like, well, yeah, it's bad, but they have no idea. They have no idea they're under eugenics attack. They have no idea they're being poisoned every day. They have no idea it's in public documents. And then they hear us talk about that, and they just can't believe it. Do you see what I'm saying?
That's why it's important to take baby steps with a lot of these people. There's different styles of making documentaries. There's different levels of the way you communicate and the information that you put in there. We wanted to get chemtrails into One Nation Under Siege. Just didn't fit. I felt like it just completely detracted from all of the very legitimate.
Don't worry, I'm doing a film with chemtrails.
Oh, good. Well, it's about time somebody did something. I know that there's at least one other out there by Clifford Carnicom, but we've really got one. We need one that is a little bit, more user-friendly, something that kind of keeps you entertained while you're watching.
Yeah, no, we're just going to have like 15 minutes on chemtrails in what I'm making.
Yeah, it's hard to take pictures of the sky and do something creative with it, isn't it? I've wanted to put out a documentary on chemtrails now for about
now it's
years.
the time. Now it's the time because they just admit they're spraying us now. It's mainstream. In fact, I forgot, guys, will you go screenshot the CNS news story and the one Paul did last week before they take it down and all the government documents? Yeah, they say it's for our safety to stop global warming. Just so happens to be toxic aluminum and barium, but come on, William, they love you.
Yeah, they love me so much. There's so many different theories floating around about those chemtrails, too.
Well, there's a lot of different projects, and they cover it all with just, the term.
It's true. Everything from being vaccinated, aerosolized, biological, whatever. None of it's out of the realm of possibility. In fact, more than likely, everything that people have uncovered, all of these different theories probably are true to a certain extent because you know that they don't just have one program. You know that if they're doing this, they've got several programs that they're experimenting in several different ways on us. This is just the way they operate. So,
that's why, a lot of cops want to serve the system and believe their own propaganda and their gang mentality and gang psychosis. Don't they understand they're under attack as well? Everything we've said's come true. We're talking about real issues here. We're telling you the truth. You better listen to us. Your take on that, William, that statement?
I can't even imagine being an officer of the law these days, or in the military for that matter. If you're in the military, you really have a hard time being able to speak out because you're sort of under contract, with your signature that you won't speak out. Cops, police officers, now that's a different story. They're not quite as limited. And why they're not speaking out and taking a more active role in what they see going on, I think, is because the brainwashing and the re-education goes so deep. It's all psychological. These guys are being, they're being asked questions like, would you shoot an American if you were asked to? I mean, we're talking about the military now.
And the minute the globalists think they can do this, they'll bring in martial law, steal the bank accounts. That's their public plan. We have the IMF World Bank documents. Folks, you better look into them. Just look into IMF World Bank documents, Consume Argentina, BBC. And you'll find out it's a global plan for each country. And realize that the minute they think you'll go for it and we'll go for it, they're going to activate it. And they're testing the water. They're probing right now. They're testing to see what's going to happen. I want to go to the phone calls now for people that are holding from Tennessee to Maine to Arkansas. But before we do that, I do want to just spend a moment to encourage everybody out there to get 2 new films we're carrying at Infowars.com. And they are American Drug War, The Last White Hope, We Have Met the Enemy and It Is Our Government, and Washington, You're Fired by William Lewis. We have both of these in great supply. Hot new films. I consulted on American Drug War. It has 3 hours of extras, $24.95. It was going to be a mini-series, but they decided to just make it a one-time a Showtime deal. And of course, William Lewis is a film that I think is key to give everybody. This isn't just for newbies, but it's perfect for them and perfect for experts on the New World Order. It's just so good. It's something everybody's got to have to give people the big picture of what's going on. Both these films, ladies and gentlemen, available at Infowars.com or by calling 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. Washington, You're Fired, and American Drug War, The Last White Hope, government drug dealing exposed, all of it. You need both these films, Infowars.com, or write to me, Alex Jones, at 3001 South Lamar, Suite 100, Austin, Texas, 78704. And, of course, there's also William's website, WashingtonYou'reFired.com. And you have some other websites. Give out the In Plain Sight website. You have some other films.
Sure. There's 911inplainsight.org, beyondtreason.org, thepowerhourmovie.com, if you wanted to take a look at that.
What's that one? I haven't heard of that one.
Well, I suppose that there's by now probably quite a large number of people aware that there are some differences popping up between the Power Hour and myself. And
well, I knew you weren't working with them anymore, but
simple fact of the matter is they believe that they don't have to honor contracts that we've had for very long-term projects. I didn't
know about that. Let's not get in. Yeah, but hey, listen, you're out making films, and that's what's important, William.
Actually, cool.
So you're separate from them now, then?
Very much so.
Oh, okay. But anyways, we're carrying Washington, You're Fired. I mean, I knew they weren't in it, but okay. Washington, You're Fired, a film about political change in D.C. And that's what's interesting about this is that you also get into the fact of how to change things and really give people good ideas. But it's not a preachy film. William, I've just got to commend you. You're quite a filmmaker.
Man, I appreciate it. Like I said, this is a 2-year documentary that was specifically designed as a tool for taking back our government. I mean, and I mean it. I mean, the way it's put together, the emotional atmosphere that it creates. I mean, I've seen 13-year-olds sit down and watch this thing and be crying towards the middle, and then by the end of the film, they're up in arms. What can we do? Well, guess what? We just told you what to do, so go do it. That's kind of the whole idea is to prevent these things from continuing by presenting people with solutions. And if we can get enough people out there to act on these things, we can really, it's a reality, begin to take back portions of our government. It's one baby step at a time, guys, because we didn't get this way overnight. It's been an incremental process
they know,
of getting here.
Exactly. They know we're awake now, so they're moving against us. Let's go ahead and go to Danny in Tennessee. You're on the air with William Lewis, the maker of Washington, You're Fired.
Alex, hi, William.
Hey, buddy.
Great to be on the show with you guys today. I spoke to you the other day, Alex, and I wanted to thank you for your prayers. You probably remember.
Yes, you lost your son.
Yeah, I thank you for that, man. For the prayers and everything.
I thought about you a lot.
Thank you, Alex. I'm doing okay now with that. We're getting through it. But I wanted to talk to you about these key issues with that video with the football player. I posted a bunch of comments on there. I post as a majority, like I leave comments on all your articles and things there. That's me. When you read comments that say the majority, that's me posting on
Gotcha.
there. But,
it's good handle.
Anyway, I noticed this one particular person was using the word civilian, and calling us civilians.
Yeah, and then telling us it's great. Yeah, you're a civilian. No, police are civilians under the Bill of Rights and Constitution. But when mayors and police call us civilians, that's a martial law term for the control grid. And notice how they're all using it now.
Yeah, I made a point of that. There was a guy trying to cause trouble there and just, riling.
You civilians are second class. We're the government. We're the authorities. We're the officials. No longer servants. No longer representatives. It's now authority, official, and you're a civilian. Shut up! I've been in Iraq pushing them around, and now I push you around.
It's crazy. They're not supposed to be calling us civilians, cops.
Hey, I'm going to push you, black guy. If you don't like it, I'm going to taser you, no reason. Oh, you're begging me, huh? That just gets me hot. I like it.
Yeah, that.
You laughing at me? You laughing at me, civilian?
That right there is,
Maybe I'll put duct tape on your mouth, your eyes, arms, and legs, and throw you in the river. Talk about how you committed suicide.
What about the government?
You don't like it, boy?
How about government figures?
We run this country now. Bend him over. Come on, little piggy. Let me hear you squeal. Wee, wee, you little piggy. We run this country now. Yeah, we run it, and it's ours. You gonna learn, boy. We gonna learn you good now. Who runs it? The government's king, and we rule. All I gotta do go get the job as cop. And now I tell you what you do. Now I tell everybody. You understand me, boy? Huh? Huh? You got a problem with me calling you civilian? Lick my boots. This ain't good enough. Begging ain't good enough, boy. Get down there on the ground and lick my boot. I'm gonna piss on you now. We run your country now, boy.
Maybe a little less caffeine.
Yeah, Alex, it's crazy, man.
You like that, guys? Well, that's an imitation of them.
That's pretty good.
Perfect.
I mean, it's good, man. The show is awesome that you got going on, and when you're doing all this, it's true. I mean,
Don't you talk back, boy.
But government officials, like these government figures and everything, they're also calling us civilians, and I mean, people need
You
to
gonna
wake up
see,
to that.
civilian?
They need to wake up, man.
I got a uniform. Bow down to that. Shiny medallions, fancy hat.
Hey, Alex, don't half of the American people work for the government?
Yes, they do.
They're supposed to fear us.
I mean, sorry.
That's what America's all about. It's about you being a civilian and shutting your mouth when I say it.
So, well, if you get a job working for the government, does that mean you're no longer a civilian? I mean, in their definition?
Well, of course, civilian is what the military always called us. And now cops say civilians line up, and we're under military law, we're under martial law. Thanks for the call. Good to hear from you, Danny. Okay. Nate in Maine, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
You call me boss man. I'm officer. You're a civilian. That means you're scum.
Yes, sir, boss man. Can I please worship the government better?
That's you, son of a bitch. Give me my taser. I don't like you praying to me. That's not enough of a grovel. Lick 'em. Lick the boot. Here. Now I want you to lick 'em that way. Lick 'em this way. You learn, you scum, you civilian trash. You pay my check right now. Oh, yeah. You pieces of trash. You do what I say. Lick it. Lick that boot, boy. Lick it all over. That's good. I'm going to put it right there so you can lick it right now. Lick it, boy. Lick it when I tell you. Lick that boot right now. Lick it, civilian. Oh, God. I love the newscast after I push him and taser him after he begs for no reason. They didn't say he's bad, and he is, because he's a civilian. Lick it. Lick the boot, boy. Oh, you slave. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, guys.
Alex, I have a recommendation for you. I think you need to go into motion picture production, like on a theatrical basis. I mean, some of the stuff, the caricatures and the characterizations that you do on your program, you really could put that into a really good screenplay and just make the switch, Well,
William, I have been in a few movies, but I haven't pursued that.
Well, you'd be great at it, man.
I just get in the mind of a petty scumbag who's been real cowardly their whole life and beat kids up till they were about 14, and finally the kids beat them up, and they went, how do I get control of them? I'm sorry. I just got to get in that mindset of like somebody real scared, but like is into being tough. So, I'm going to hit you. And then if you don't like it, I'm going to tase you. I'll do what I want. I do what I want. Yeah, I got the power. I'm a cop.
Anyway, I love the live show, Alex.
Oh, Jesus.
It's helping me wake a lot of people up. I shock people, my family, my friends, every time when I get them to sit down and watch it with me.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I just wanted to talk real quick about how I stopped watching TV about 4 years ago.
That's not good, civilian. You need to watch that to learn who's your boss, boy.
And however, I do keep the cable on to monitor what's going on, and I compare it with your show. And I see what's really going on. But one thing I noticed is they had this commercial on the other day where they're talking about what kind of carbon footprint is your house leaving. And
yeah, they're getting you ready for the tax, the regulators, the control. They're going to be inside your house, civilian. Ooh. Just like Richard N. Haas, the head of the CFR, wrote and said, it's fake, but they're going to use it to be, quote, anti-human, that humans are the enemy of the elite. That is a public CFR document. Paul wrote an article about it where they admit it's fake carbon that's good for plants, that plants breathe, and then they ignore all the real toxic waste to tax us and have one-child policies. It's eugenics.
Not to mention the fact that there's planets further away from Earth that have global warming that are uninhabited.
Exactly. The sun was heating up till about 6 months ago. Good to hear from you, Nathan Maine, civilian scum. Let's go ahead and talk to Jane in Arkansas. You better pray to me and you better lick my boots. I'm an officer and you're a lowly civilian. Go ahead.
Hello, Alex.
I'm going to tase you right now. Right now. You bow down right now, you piece of trash. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Alex.
I'm Officer Jackboot. Go ahead.
Officer Jackboot, yes.
I'm tough. I'm really going to respect my uniform.
First of all, I do just want to say that I have loved to hear you laugh in the last couple of days. It's been really hilarious.
That's because I've gone insane.
But one of the main reasons I was calling is regarding a caller that called in yesterday. He's a scientist that works for the government, and he was talking about how he was trying to talk to his wife into, or not talk her into it, but trying to teach her about what's going on in the world today and how he's not being very successful at that. And I just want to say that I have always been leery of the government. I remember, I'm 40 years old. In '88, I was looking at Ron Paul, not knowing that was...
Excuse me, did you say you don't like your government? That's illegal! According to neocons I worship, talking bad about the government, that's Al-Qaeda talk.
The guilty is charged, man. But I just wanted to say that, my husband has been listening to your show for about 10 years, and about 2 years ago, we moved from Florida, Tampa Bay area, to Arkansas, to get away from the city. And I just want to say that when we made that move, he really was starting to get into the truth movement and all that stuff, and I was almost getting worried about him because I'd heard about you and I'd heard about, the truth movement.
You'd heard about that Al-Qaeda Alex Jones, that wicked person that talks about freedom? That civilian trash? How dare him tell you got rights? Oh, he needs to jump off a bridge.
What I really was trying to say is that I was really getting concerned about him because I thought he was kind of losing his mind, even though I knew that what he was telling me was true, and I agreed with everything that he said. I just felt like he was going off the deep end. And then I started listening to your show and started really paying attention to what was going on. And I'm telling you, I am more of a believer than he is today, I've made him go out and buy some storable foods. We've got a water filter. We've got property out in the country.
You know what? That's a vote of non-confidence, you civilian trash. You should trust us and drink that sodium fluoride. Doesn't matter if there's 20,000 studies saying it attacks all your tissues and kills you and brain damages you. Drink it up. I drink it. Are you saying I'm stupid? Huh?
No,
you wipe that smile off your face right now. I'll tase you and I'll set you up and I'll send you to prison. You heard all the videos us on the line where people record us setting them up? I'll set you up. I'll show you who the boss is. I'll show you who the winner is. I'll show you I'm bigger than you and I'm better than you and I own you, lady.
And I know that's what's coming for us, I know that is exactly what is coming for us. And I'll tell you, I'm ready. I am ready.
I'm ready, too. I like it. Good-looking women don't like me, but under a police state, I can do whatever I want, because you're a civilian.
Yeah, well, we got guns in this house, and they're not registered.
You don't got them for long. I rule. I'm the
They're
governor.
not registered.
I'm going to get them anyways. What do you think our helicopters do flying over? It's freedom. You pay for it with your taxes. Department of Defense. We defend the bankers. You worship us. Understood? Good. Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
Ugh, it makes me sick. People talking about freedom, trash, scum. Don't you know the Bible says lay down to government, do whatever they say, and worship them? Anyways, let's go ahead. You having fun, William?
This is great, man. Quite a different format from your regular program.
Well, we're just having some fun, Lewis.
Oh, yeah, it's cool, man. Hey, you mind if I put out a plea to your audience?
Yeah, pleading's all you're gonna do, boy.
Now, look, we've got this video, Washington You're Fired, sitting on the desk at Hillary Coon's office. She works for the Jon Stewart Report. The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. They say they don't know what to do with the video. I would just like to give out the phone number so people can call them up and tell them what to do with the video. It's 212-767-8600. That's 212-767-8600. 8600.
And that's a good idea, but while they're at it, also tell them to have me on. They've had people on about the extermination plan, but then they've had a pro-extermination plan guy on, A Future Without Us, wherever that book is. I want them to have me on the show. I've never really lobbied them. They've called me twice about having me on, but then they think I live in New York. They always cancel it. But yes, give the number out to have you on and me on, and the Keebler Elves.
All right, 212-767-8600. The lady you need to speak to is Hillary Coon, K-U-N. And, they're excited about it. They just, I think, need a little bit of prompting, a little push from some other people.
Give them the number again, William.
212-767-8600.
Absolutely. Let's talk to Charity in New York City. Go ahead.
Hi. I'm a first-time caller. So I am a new fan of you.
Hold on, let me shine a spotlight in your eye and a light in you. Hey, hold on, taxpayer. You just paid your taxes. I'm going to pull you over here and get some more money. Let me just check all your papers, a routine terror sweep here. You don't mind that light right in your face, do you? I'd blow your head off if you put a light in my eye, but I'm better than you, civilian. Huh? What, you got a problem with it? Huh? You got a little bit of problem, honey?
Alex.
Oh, I think you got one, huh?
So, Alex, I've become a fan because my mom is part of the Truth Movement with Luke here in New York City. But the reason why I had called was because the other night I actually watched the documentary called Mein Kampf about Hitler. So it's about, it was on YouTube. But to get to more of my point, they had other links and it was a comedy about Hitler. And then it made me so mad because there were all these young people saying, I'm an avid fan of Hitler and oh, you could see that he could be a caring person. And it was just the fact that it's like, how could you think he's a caring person?
Yeah, listen, there's this whole Nazism is reoccurring, and then real Nazis they leave alone, people who aren't they go after. And Schwarzenegger wears Nazi belt buckles on TV. His dad was an SF Gestapo officer, and it's just it's everywhere. It's pure fascism.
No, I believe you. And the funny thing is, I was so mad that I left a comment and I said, for you to think that he could be a caring person and all this other stuff you're discussing, you might as well be a Nazi yourself. And I said, how are you going to feel when Bush becomes a dictatorship and all your rights are taken away? You won't be saying the same thing. It's like, after I watched this movie, I saw so...
Well, and they were bragging. Listen, the Salon magazine, it's big. One of the conservatives at it was with her friends out in... in Long Island at the beach with these, wealthy ladies. Yeah. And she told the story like 2 years ago, and they were saying, I can't wait to arrest everybody that doesn't agree with us. We're going to gas them. We're going to kill them. And then they talked about how it's all discussed in an open plan at Fox News and everywhere else. And then now it's in all, they're just like, that's what they talk about. They just go, we're going to kill all of you. And so you were on their site and they were saying, we're coming. We rule now. You're all going to die. Yes.
I hope they do send me a comment because I'm ready for it, because for them to, how ignorant could you be? And it's a 16-year-old saying that. So I actually ordered one of your shirts with the, Hitler and all the other guys on it.
Yeah, martial law documents how the Bushes are Nazis.
Yeah, and it's just, I actually went to school with somebody who became a cop, and I started asking him questions. And here's the funny thing. He said pretty much a cop can arrest you for anything you want. It just matters how much of a mean person they want to be. And they also his own boss advised him, even if you are on duty, carry your weapon with you, because you would hate to be the one cop that actually gets mugged off duty. And it scares me, because it's like you say...
Well, exactly. First they said, we're only going to arrest you for serious crimes. Then, we want to be able to arrest you for no seatbelt, but we'll never do it. And now they do. And used to, if you went 5 over the speed limit, they wouldn't stop you. Now they do. It's all about enforcing on us. I appreciate your call. We got to move quick here. William Lewis, we're almost out of time. You want to just have the last few minutes or jam a few final calls in?
Oh, we can take a few more phone calls if you want to.
Carlos in New York City, you're on the air.
Alex, good afternoon.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. I want to mention a couple of things. Piercing, tattoos, shaved heads, the dumbing down you speak about. And I want you to know that I'm a Latino, and I came from Ecuador in 1961. And I think other U.S. Latinos should be enlightened to know, the things that you teach us, and that they can help us win the battle.
Listen, I want all the Latinos. A lot of my friends are Latino, and then I just don't like the fact that the Ford Foundation radicalized, used what the globalists did to Latin America to make them mad, then told them it was America that did it when America's been taken over, and then I'm all for immigrants that are here and want to be part of the country. It's just that we got billions that want to come here. The globalists are for it, and that's what I'm trying to explain to people.
Well, I'm glad you make that distinction. I want to ask you how you and I can work together to accomplish that.
Well, I've told everybody there is a Spanish version of Road to Tyranny and a few others. People can take my films, put Spanish subtitles or text or vocals on it, put it on the web for free. Tell the Latino community, because I am not against the Latino community, and I've said that a million times. I am against how the government wants to bring in masses of Latinos, and especially the Mexicans. See, it's different. You're from Ecuador, who have a history of wars with this country, to balkanize, because the globalists want to destroy the U.S., and I'm trying to explain that. It's just like, I don't like Hugo Chavez because he's socialist, but I agree with him because he's anti-globalist. He has shot down a lot of what they're doing. See, the globalists want open borders. They want globalism. You understand what I'm saying? Anything the globalists are for, I'm against it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, yeah. And what I want to do is basically get all the Latinos, to back you up, because I think they're a major force in politics and electoral politics. There's all theater anyway, but if they can back you up, then I think we can do better against the New World Order.
Absolutely. God bless you. Half of Texas is now Latino. And, or then they'll say, well, don't call me Hispanic. I just can't stand all the political correctness. I don't care what color your skin is. I care what's in your brain. And there's this weird double standard of waving Mexican flags and saying, La Reconquista, and we're going to get you, white boy. And I'm like, hey, that's wrong. And they're like, no, you're the only one that can be racist. And I'm like, no, you're being racist. Stop it. You're being manipulated. That's what I don't want. I don't care if all the people are brown, if they're not wanting to kill me, the gringo. And I know most Hispanics aren't like that, but a large portion are. Look, how many, we got a lot of other callers, don't we? How many more? There's so many on the screen. Oh, man, I guess we'll just go into... William, you want to stay with me a few more minutes, take more calls?
Sure, go ahead.
And again, the new film is Washington, You're Fired. Get it at Infowars.com right now. 3 more calls and that's it. Jarrett in Arkansas, you're on the air.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if you've seen that movie, Demolition Man, where they talked about Arnold Schwarzenegger going on to become governor.
Yeah, that was made like 18 years ago, and he becomes governor, and then he becomes president, all throwing it in your face.
Exactly, throwing it in your face. So I think we're going to have him as president next. And also, Alex, you're really pissing me off. Is that what you're trying to do? Because is this a call to arms or what? I don't think it's time right now, but yeah, what you're hollering and lick my boots. You're exactly right, and it's pissing me off.
No, I want people to realize, well, what's disgusting is the news. This black guy's begging. He's going, please, a big old NFL football player. The guy's yelling at him. He says, please, sir, come on. And the guy shoves him. And then they taser him, and the news says, look at him cuss. He's bad. As they attempted murder. These things kill people every day. Every day. And then the news says he's bad. The cop openly assaults him. Go ahead.
Stand by and watch that shit because I can't stand by and watch it. I'm sorry.
But doesn't it make you mad?
Yeah, I'm really mad. Call to arms, mad. Start the revolution. If Jesse Ventura ain't here, so what?
Well, here's the deal. We're winning the info war now. That's why they're going to stage events and then use it to crack down. We want to wake as many as we can up. Don't worry. They're going to push. They're going to start it. And unfortunately, it's all going to go to hell. Then they plan to bring in more forces. In fact, I want to end the show with Shattered Union. Can you pull that up? It'll be on YouTube. Shattered Union. I want to end it with Shattered Union, then play 8 minutes for the habeas corpus segment from the new film, You're Fired. But they have said they want to get us all fighting, the Mexicans, the whites, the blacks, with the cops, and then they're going to bring in I-4 international troops. They've been training for 40 years. Now they've signed deals with Canada, the Germans, everybody. I've got video of it. It's really happening, and we need to make sure these cops get fired. That TV station that lies and try. I mean, there he is being attacked, and they say he's bad. That we need to really expose this. We don't want to get violent. We just want to submit and lick their boots repeatedly. That's the most important thing. I'm being sarcastic. Anything else, Garrett? Jarrett?
No, I don't know. You're right. You're right. It's not time right now, and I don't think it ever will be because they'll kick our ass.
No, they will not. If it ever comes to fighting, sir, you're going to see them claiming a lot of victories, kind of like Baghdad Bob when he was claiming that the U.S. wasn't in the city. His explosions went off behind him. Remember that?
No, but
you remember the Iraqi information officer who would get up on TV and tell you that Iraq was invincible and that the U.S. wasn't 100 miles from Baghdad?
Yeah, disinfo. I got it.
Yeah, no. They'll always tell you they're winning if we make them leave the planet and they're on the moon, the tyranny. But no, if it comes to fighting, they're going to lose. I appreciate your call. William Lewis, comments?
Well, I agree with what you're saying there. I think if it comes to an all-out assault, I think we would stand a better chance.
That's why they're incremental.
Yeah, they don't want this to blow up into that right now. I think obviously the goal here is to confiscate all of the small arms, which is... Look,
they're training you. They sit there and they march women onto TV and break their necks in front of you. They murder people with duct tape tied up in the Austin River here in Austin and say it's suicide. They show the Constitution on fire on the front of the paper and say it's good. Getting rid of it's good. They say torturing children with pliers is good in White House memos. They're selling us on the evil first. Go ahead, William.
Well, I mean, I just totally agree with what you're saying, and I think that's why it's so important that, before it actually comes to an armed conflict that everyone wants to avoid, that we do this through the legislative process. And that's many different things. That's not just going out and voting people. That's also running for office. Once you realize that we have been infiltrated, our House of Representatives doesn't have, maybe 5 people you can count on one hand that are worth being there. We've got to start replacing those people, and we can't put the people in there that are running for office right now. We've got to put us in there. We've got to be the ones to to make these battle plans that are going to take back our government, and that is for us to infiltrate the House of Representatives and represent the people, period.
I agree. Continue with a summation of your film, and we'll take 2 final calls.
I just encourage everybody to go out and get it. This is a tool for taking back our government. This is not just showing you all the bad things that are going on. It's a process of educating you, bringing you up to speed on all the bad bills that we've got in this country, how your rights were stolen from you, and how you can get them back. Very simply, it's a weapon, and I want people to use it as such. I want people to take it to their next door neighbor and watch it. By the way, next week on Free Speech TV, on the 21st, you can catch Washington, You're Fired and Beyond Treason back-to-back all night. They're doing a really nice run for us to promote it. And
who's playing that?
Free Speech TV.
Wow, that is huge. And what channel is that on the Dish Network, or is it? I forget which network it's on.
It is on Dish Network. It's up in the 3000s, I believe. Anybody who's familiar with it, they're going to know what channel it's on. But look it up in your TV guide if you don't know. But go catch it on the 21st. Like I said, it's starting at 8 p.m. They're going to run it back-to-back with Washington, You're Fired and Beyond Treason all night.
Well, super job, William Lewis. We really commend you for what you've done, and we hope that everyone out there will visit Infowars.com and get the DVD today. That way they are supporting you. That way they are supporting us. That way they are supporting everyone. Again, at Infowars.com to order the hard copy of the DVD or to get American Drug War. Let's go ahead and talk to James and then Evan, and that's it. James in California, go ahead.
How you doing, Alex? Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you.
First-time caller, and just want to say thanks a lot for all that you've done. All your information really stands up if you do your own, Google it like you tell us to do or whatever, and so you're very impressive.
Well, one reason I flip out now is that I'm just letting it all hang out because I really am in danger. I get threats all the time. This isn't a game to me. I know I'm the biggest thing out there in this movement. Tip of the spear. I can't believe I grew up to be this person. I can't believe I'm still alive. I can't believe I got this great family. I can't believe the government's this evil and this many people go along with it. And I just put my hands in, I put myself in God's hands. And I'm not perfect, but I mean well, and I'm telling you the truth. And God Almighty, we're in trouble. And I've just committed. I've turned loose, folks. I've just turned it up. And I appreciate you, James. Anything else?
Actually, it was one of the things that you brought up. I know you have a link to it, or you used to the last couple of days, about what happened in Oakland as far as the gun searches. And what's interesting is they ran a news article subsequent to that on the TV news about a private security force hired in Oakland with public funds to start walking streets issuing tickets.
Oh, my God. They're doing that everywhere. They're moving us over to mercenaries, which the drug-dealing bank cartels, literally, that's who owns them. They deal the drugs. They own the banks. They own the private security firms, and then they get the money from the government. It's not even what you'd call classical privatization. Privatization is the opposite. It is total fascism, but communism for us at the lower level. Thank you so much for the call, James. Evan in Nashville, you're on the air.
Alex, brother, you are the light in the distance, my friend. Thank you for everything you do. I don't know what I'd even be doing right now without you giving me this information. But I have a question going back to that whole martial law in Nashville thing you were talking about earlier. Like, what is the tagline on that article? Because I'd like to do a little more investigation on that myself.
Let me dig it out here. Let me just go ahead and zoom in for you on it here. Document cam, there it is. Let me zoom in a little bit better. I guess you're not a PrisonPlanet.tv member.
I'm actually outside right now, but I'm
No, that's okay. Let me just give you the headline. This would be even easier if you had it, because I can show people the video. It's law enforcement agencies joined together for anti-terrorism initiative. But it admits it's going on nationwide, and they call it terror, and then they say, no, everything is anti-terror. No seatbelt, no driver's license, no insurance. And then they said they gave hundreds of tickets in anti-terror sweep. You understand? It's a total shift. First, it's men in caves with brown skin. Then it's blonde-haired, blue-eyed Al-Qaeda. Now all crime, all misdemeanor is terror, Section 802.
I mean, you'd be even hard-pressed to even find a cop who knows what posse comitatus is. Because I find myself out and around the town just, engaging individuals as they need to be engaged. And you can never find someone that's just up on these issues.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. The military was with them on this. William, Governor Ridge, when he was head of Homeland Security, said you have the military on the streets, and they're doing it, aren't they?
They've been doing it. I mean, this, Hurricane Katrina was just a big test to see, I'm assuming, how they can coordinate their efforts. And they seem to do it quite well. I mean, they had 5 different governmental agencies going door to door confiscating firearms. And you hardly see any publicity about it.
And no food. They wouldn't bring the food in. They went to high and dry areas and looted the rich houses and took their guns.
Yeah. I mean, those people lived there their entire life. A lot of those homes that we're talking about there in New Orleans, I lived there in Louisiana for 30-some-odd years. I mean, these are some nice homes, people. These are, mansions in some particular cases, and these people were forced to give up their firearms, forced to leave their homes when, these people are prepared. They're... I mean, this is just what we do in Louisiana. We stockpile food and we have firearms. Okay,
that's where you're from.
Yeah, that's where I'm originally from. Okay,
I remember when you first contacted me 10 years ago about using some audio clips. You were from there.
Yeah, but I mean, my point is that the people that decided to stay didn't stay because they didn't have a way out or they needed to get out. It was because they had food, they could sustain themselves and protect themselves with their firearms or whatever the situation was.
Absolutely. One final call. Okay, we're not going to have time for any more calls. That is it for the show. William Lewis, I want to have you back up for an hour during the main show next week again. And your new film, Washington, You're Fired, available at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com right now or by calling 888-253-3139. Thank you for coming on, my friend.
Thank you. It was great.
William, we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
William Lewis, ladies and gentlemen. Incredible new film. I'll be back live Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. on the Genesis Network on stations in Kansas City, San Diego, Austin, Texas, upstate New York, Ohio, Illinois. Wonderful affiliates out there with the Sunday show, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, 5 to 7 Eastern. That's 2 to 4 Pacific, 3 to 5 Mountain. And then I'll be back live Monday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the Genesis Network. You'll be able to hear it. And that is the bottom line there. I want to show you Shattered Union, what the globalists are planning, something similar with UN I-4 troops. I mean, they're serious. They engineered Hitler to destroy Europe and then set him up. I mean, that's declassified now. You need to understand, they really are planning this. They're into big events. They're into wars to reorganize things. They want to take your property. They want to make you slaves. They want to make you refugees. The idiot cops don't understand this, or those that do keep their mouths shut because they know how corrupt it is. Here is Shattered Union, and then after this is over in 2 minutes, we'll air about 8 minutes from the film habeas corpus section about what's happening to that key right. Again, Washington, You're Fired, American Drug War, available at Infowars.com right now. But I'm Alex Jones saying sayonara. See you back Monday live at 11 a.m. or Sunday at 4 p.m. Central. God bless you all. Here is, you can go watch this on YouTube at Shattered Union if you want to see a better shot of it. But again, then we're going to stream downline this habeas corpus clip. This is the first time it's being seen on the web, I'm told. Just now came out today. So here is Shattered Union first, and then the habeas corpus clip from Washington, You're Fired.
Following a disputed election and a tie vote, the U.S. Congress installed...
I didn't have the audio up. Let me start that over.
Following a disputed election and a tie vote, the U.S. Congress installs the most unpopular president in U.S. history as David Jefferson Adams becomes the 44th President of the United States. Shortly after the election, increased unrest, rioting, and a growing number of militias have given rise to ever-increasing domestic terrorism. In response, the President invokes the Homeland Security Act and declares martial law on the West Coast and other areas of the country. Though highly contested, a Supreme Court ruling sidesteps the electoral process, disqualifying popular presidential candidates from several states. Public outrage explodes when a sham election leads to incumbent David Adams accepting a second term in office. During the 57th Inauguration Day ceremonies, Washington, D.C. is struck by a low-yield nuclear weapon, killing David Adams and most of the U.S. Congress. The destruction of Washington, D.C. effectively breaks the chain of succession, sending the nation into chaos. In an emergency vote, the European Union deploys peacekeepers in the greater D.C. area to secure international interests. With separatist sentiment rising, California's governor declares home rule and secedes from the Union. Texas follows quickly and declares sovereignty, taking neighboring states with them and forming the Republic of Texas. Now, the once United States of America lie in ruin. The time for words has passed, and a second American Civil War now erupts as 7 factions wage war across the land. They battle one another to reclaim a nation, to restore peace, to rebuild this shattered union.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead now and go to the habeas corpus clip from the new film, Washington, You Fired. Here it is.
September the 11th for them was a bad day. For us, it was a change of attitude. The Military Commissions Act of 2006 is one of the most important pieces of legislation in the war on terror.
Habeas corpus, it is the last line of defense against arbitrary executive power.
The framers created a system where we did not have to rely on the good graces or good mood of the president.
The Military Commissions Act.
It would perpetuate the indefinite detention of hundreds of individuals against whom the government has brought no charges and present no evidence without any recourse to justice whatsoever.
It does violence to the Constitution.
What the Congress did and what the president signed today essentially revokes over 200 years of American principles and values.
Does this mean that under this law, ultimately the only thing keeping you, I, or the viewer out of Gitmo is the sanity and honesty of the President of the United States?
It does. The Congress just gave the president despotic powers, and you could hear the yawn across the country as people turned to, Dancing with the Stars. I mean, it's otherworldly.
The bill I signed today helps secure this country.
This can go on indefinitely, and it's a self-proclaimed emergency. It's a self-proclaimed emergency.
The point here is you've heard it repeatedly from administration officials that we cannot predict how long it will go.
On October 17, 2006, President Bush signed into law the Military Commissions Act of 2006. By doing so, our representatives in Washington have committed the most shocking and openly malevolent act of giving the President of the United States true dictatorial ruling powers, and by stripping Americans of their constitutionally guaranteed right of habeas corpus. All that is necessary for someone to go to prison without any recourse to justice whatsoever is for the President of the United States to declare that person an enemy combatant. The President can label that person as either a legal enemy combatant or an illegal enemy combatant, assigning titles to Americans that presuppose their guilt and, by default, deny those people their basic right to habeas corpus. Adopted in 1787, the U.S. Constitution specifically states that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it. So what is habeas corpus? Habeas corpus is actually Latin for "you have the body." Also known as the Great Writ, habeas corpus is a petition filed with the court by a person who objects to his own or another person's detention or imprisonment. But it's more than that. In family law, habeas corpus allows children who've been wrongly removed from a parent or a guardian to be returned to that parent or guardian. If you go to jail for any reason, habeas corpus is your get-out-of-jail-free card. It prevents jurors from being imprisoned for returning a verdict that the presiding judge may disagree with. And up until October 2006, it prevented the President of the United States from being able to secretly lock up anyone and throw away the key on his sole authority. Vested with the power to remove any citizen's right of habeas corpus, the President of the United States arguably has more power now than the King of England did at the time of our revolution in 1776.
I disagree with your assertion of unchecked power.
If this were a dictatorship, it'd be a heck of a lot easier.
just so long as I'm the dictator.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
No one, no president, should ever be given the power to call someone an enemy combatant, make a phone call, and have that person locked up until further notice. So what gave the president the notion that he could do this in the first place? On the authority of one man, Attorney General Alberto Gonzales, the President of the United States, twists words and redefines them to his own executive benefit. Everyone remembers how President Bill Clinton attempted to redefine the word sex in order to hide his extramarital affair with Monica Lewinsky.
While my answers were legally accurate, I did not volunteer information.
President George W. Bush, on the other hand, would take the redefining of words to a whole new level. Included in the Military Commissions Act of 2006 is the government's new definition of torture.
We were using techniques like isolation, sleep deprivation, inducing hypothermia, using military working dogs. We used strobe lights and loud music for sensory overload. These things are all violations of Geneva Conventions for enemy prisoners of war.
So is waterboarding constitutional?
I don't know what's involved in the technique. If waterboarding is torture, torture is not constitutional.
If it's torture, that's a massive hedge.
As I've said before, the United States does not torture. It's against our laws and it's against our values.
It's been reported that with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, he was what they call waterboarded.
I'm not going to talk about techniques that we use on people. It's against our laws and it's against our values.
All of the government's documents, all of the White House documents, go to this issue of redefining torture in a way that we don't define it in the United States or in the world. And that definition says torture only occurs when someone's at the risk of immediate full organ failure or death.
Our defining moment came in 1787 when we defined ourselves in a constitutional document that committed us to the rule of law. And what would happen here if we embraced torture at the President's invitation would be to redefine ourselves. And we will become something that we have long fought against.
The Military Commissions Act gives the President absolute power to decide who is an enemy of our country, to imprison those people indefinitely without charging them with a crime, and the ability to define what is and what is not torture and abuse. It also retroactively protects the President from prosecution for having issued orders to illegally torture prisoners in his own possession. How can we expect our leaders in Washington to obey the U.S. Constitution if they don't even know the U.S. Constitution? In April of 2007, Representative Jane Harman introduced one of the most terrifying bills ever to make its way onto the House floor. The Violent Radicalization and Homegrown Terrorism Prevention Act of 2007 amends the Homeland Security Act of 2002 and seeks to add provisions pertaining to the prevention of homegrown terrorism. The bill's focal point is centered on terrorism by individuals born, raised, or based and operating primarily in the United States. H.R. 1955 specifically targets the civilian population of the United States and makes having certain thoughts a crime. This bill makes it a crime for the people of the United States to have certain thoughts floating around in their head that may be contrary to the conventional wisdom of the current administration. Are you a terrorist? You just might be. As defined in the bill, homegrown terrorism is a term meaning the use, planned use, or threatened use of force or violence by a group or individual. I think we can all agree that preventing violence is a good thing, but the red flag being waved in front of our faces actually comes from the use of the word force. According to the American Heritage Dictionary, the word force is defined as the capacity to do work or cause physical change, intellectual power or vigor, especially as conveyed in writing or speech, a capacity for affecting, influencing, or persuading the mind or behavior. Here's where you really begin to understand what the bill is attempting to regulate. Let's read the bill's intended uses and substitute the word force with the actual definitions. Homegrown terrorism is a term meaning the use, planned use, or threatened use of intellectual power or vigor, especially as conveyed in writing or speech. Homegrown terrorism is a term meaning the use, planned use, or threatened use of persuading the mind or behavior of another person. According to the bill, you might be a terrorist if you use or plan to use your powers of persuasion to change someone else's mind, either through writing or through speech. Can anyone say 1984? This bill makes anyone into a terrorist for simply aspiring to affect political, religious, or social change. Anyone attempting to think, teach, or promote concepts that challenge conventional thinking or popular wisdom would be labeled and dealt with as criminals. My question for our legislators is who gets to decide what's a thought crime? Will the definition of thought crimes change from administration to administration? Will the people of this country be sentenced to death or merely imprisoned for questioning the conduct of their leaders in Washington? If signed into law, this piece of legislation will single-handedly strip Americans of the most essential birthright that we have, the freedom of conscious thought. The very foundation upon which our First Amendment is grounded is being uprooted at the core. H.R. 1955 sets the stage for the outlawing of protest of any kind in the United States and seeks to criminalize the very conception of thought itself. Any piece of legislation that seeks to invade and regulate the thoughts of the people of the United States needs to be booted out the front door of the Capitol building along with the person who introduced it. If you agree that your brain belongs to you, please join us in contacting the House of Representatives and voicing your opinion. Go to www.house.gov. Just enter your zip code and click Go to find your representative. Make sure to tell them that you oppose H.R. 1955, and the next time you see Representative Jane Harmon, please tell her she's fired.
If someone was working for me and they didn't do what they were supposed to do, they get fired.
We all want the same thing. We all want change in one way or another. It's not working. The country is not working for your average American.